Yo, 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 guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Marijuana Say Weekly. It's Andy and Dean here, back at you with some more cannabis content. And we are today very honored to have Myrtle Clarke join us from the Fields of Green for All. She is going to be giving her insights and tips on what they are as an organization and what she is going to be expecting to see in 2022 in the cannabis space. So we're really excited to see it. We did do, we had someone on last episode to give a little bit of more a like very legal standpoint on what might be happening. But this is going to be more sort of on the, obviously, Myrtle Clarke's a longtime activist and Fields of Green's a longtime nonprofit that's been working in the cannabis space. So yeah, we're just going to be sitting here and absorbing some of the knowledge. As always, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. And it really does help us go a long way. YouTube doesn't like giving any, we don't obviously get paid for these videos because YouTube doesn't like our type of content. But if you guys like our content, give it a thumbs up and it means the world to us. Yeah, awesome. We are going to bring Myrtle in. Thanks so much for joining us today and being willing to share a little bit of your insights on or your anticipations in the cannabis space for 2022. We didn't give you much guidance on anything specific. It's sort of as a whole. So yeah, if you want to fire away and let us know what you expect to see in 2022 in the cannabis space.
Well, I've had a most amazing quiet break here on the Jazz Farm to end off 2021. It really has been very peaceful and restful. And from all of us here at the Jazz Farm and at Fields of Green for All and the Dacha Couple team, we'd like to just wish all Marijuana SA friends a most amazing 2022. There seems to have been quite a lot of articles that have come out over the new year, international articles about predictions for the future. And when I was thinking about what to say to you guys today, I thought the best way to do it would be to break it up into sections, because that's kind of how my mind works, to keep track of everything. And under the guidelines for our evidence for the trial of the plant, we have our 4 platforms. And I always like to come back to those, because the cannabis space, while it's as we spoke towards the end of last year, it really is quite a mess at the moment, not only in South Africa, but worldwide. Things are changing really fast in some areas, and they're going really, really slowly in other areas. So to kick it off with our so-called adult use cannabis, I think that we're seeing a few more states in America opening up. We're seeing a few countries in Europe opening up. So on the international level, things are moving forward quite nicely as far as the global north is concerned, and that always makes us a little bit worried here in the global south, because things are not going so well in South America and the Caribbean islands. And it's because of this that Fields of Green has decided to team up more with our friends in the global south. So that's the first thing that I'm very excited with internationally as far as adult use cannabis is concerned. Remember that this is our umbrella for everything else, for all the other 3 uses of cannabis, and it's kind of the pilot light for everything else, because as you know, we're not sick and we don't want to make socks, so we like to concentrate on that first. So my prediction for 2022 from very much our point of view is to strengthen ties with our friends in the global south, because I think that is a way that we are going to get our government's attention, because at the moment they're looking to Canada, they're not looking to Uruguay, for example. And Uruguay's been so-called legally regulated for much longer. It was the first country, so why are they not looking to Uruguay? And I think by looking to the global south, we really can strengthen our ties as far as cannabis culture is concerned. And what I'm very excited for 2022 is that Fields of Green for All, we're going to really concentrate on cannabis culture, because it's become more and more relevant on an international level, even as far as the United Nations is concerned. We have to push our cannabis culture agenda. And then that brings me on to our second platform after responsible adult use is the traditional and cultural use of cannabis. So as we know, just yesterday, the so-called king of the Khoi nation, who has been camping out next to the Nelson Mandela statue at the Union Buildings in Pretoria, was arrested. And as we speak, he is in jail. Now, I'm not sure why they decided to take such a long time, and I could talk about this and rant and get angry, but I think that it has really showed us right at the beginning of the year where our emphasis should be. Why do we not have our national cannabis master plan translated into any indigenous language? Why is it not even just translated into Zulu or Xhosa? The Nguni languages are very similar, and all the people who speak the Nguni languages would be able to understand that. So I'm very much looking forward to strengthening our second pillar of the traditional and cultural use, together with our strengthening ties with the global south, and also of pushing the traditional agenda internationally. And I'm busy speaking to friends in America, friends in Mexico, and also some people in the north, people in Nepal and Indonesia, who also, in my mind, constitutes that same group as the global south, because they're also developing nations like us. So while I call it the global south, I also include places like India, Nepal, Indonesia, Malaysia, those type of people. So that is something really to look forward to, because I think that we've had a dearth of emphasis on medicine. And right now, what about our traditional medicines? So let's look forward in 2022 to really, really pushing that traditional agenda. And as we speak, Fields of Green for All's legal team is standing by to help the Khoi San King with his arrest in Pretoria yesterday. But we feel a bit like our hands are tied, because they haven't approached us, although we have visited the group at the Union Buildings last year. We featured them on the Hot Box show. They do have our Know Your Rights booklet, they have our manifesto, they have all of our information, our phone numbers and everything. So to a certain extent, there's nothing much we can do until they get hold of us, and so that we can get the legal ball rolling. As far as we might not even know that they've already got legal representation. But I hope that they didn't just pick up anyone who was camped outside the police station, So, so we'll see how that plays out in the next few days. But it does look a bit gloomy and doomy, but I like to think that we can look forward to providing more exposure for that traditional cultural platform. And then our third platform is, of course, the industrial use. I think we got some good news towards the end of last year from the Agricultural Research Council that they were developing specifically South African strains in order to grow hemp. Yes. But it was a little bit wishy-washy, the news, and the fact that agricultural hemp has now been included in the Plant Act. Is in some ways a good thing, in some ways a bad thing. So that's also something to really watch in 2022, because we must realize that particularly Southern Africa, but really the most of Africa, does not have a tradition of growing industrial hemp and producing fiber and food, building materials, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So this is more than a grassroots thing. And we need to look at it very carefully, because the development of the industrial hemp sector needs to be in line with the other sectors.
Yeah.
So that's also something to look forward to. And we don't want to see any sort of greenwashing as far as the industrial hemp sector is concerned, because this is what's going to happen if they're going to start importing seed from Canada and Spain and France and places, China, because that would be in order just to get ahead with the industrial hemp. And it would create a lot of problems for all of us if that is going to be the case, because once you have imported 50 tons of seed, then it's done. then it's done. Then those seeds are going to go into the ground, and we're going to have to rely on these imported seeds. We might even see seeds that have a terminated gene put into them so that we can't harvest our own seed. We are certainly seeing the likes of Monsanto and companies like that entering into the industrial hemp market overseas in a big way. So there's a lot to look out for as far as the industrial hemp sector is concerned. And then our last platform is, of course, the medical. And I think we had some very good news out in the last few days about cannabis actually blocking the COVID-19 receptors. And whether they are doubt they've had time to do extensive peer-reviewed tests on this, but I think just there's little snippets of news from business tech and platforms like that is very interesting, and it gives us something to look forward to. Because I think that cannabis in the COVID space has only been touched on, but it is something that's worth looking for. So that's basically a little thing of what to look forward to in 2022 in the cannabis space from our point of view.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I mean, basically, you seem to have touched on anything, on everything. Much more. I was just sort of like hoping for a wreck, but yeah.
It's also great to see cannabis breaking into the mainstream news. Like it was on, I think I saw it on Bloomberg, on Business Tech, so just the little snippets of information. It's great to see it all breaking through into mainstream news. And I hope to see a lot more sort of mainstream reporting throughout this year as well.
And I think that it was really good. Late last night, I saw that the story of the Koi King in Pretoria was actually featured on the BBC, which is also really important because, I mean, of course, cannabis always does grab the headlines, and it was the cannabis aspect of the story that grabbed the headline, which is a pity because the story is not really about cannabis. It's about the people's right to language and their right to their indigenous culture. So, that was really nice. And I think that South Africa is firmly in the international news when it comes to cannabis. I'm going to be doing an interview in the next week with Skunk Magazine from Canada.
Amazing! Wow.
we always try to keep South Africa on the map, as it were. Yeah.
And I think alongside with all of the developments and things that are coming, I mean, even if they just open up, even if there is a big movement in any of those sectors, the jobs that will be created along with that, and obviously that's always been one thing that we've been rooting for, is the jobs that cannabis can create on a big scale and on a small scale. Whether it's people growing for self-sustaining or if they are part of a sector that's now going to be able to flourish in South Africa, which we have the capacity to do. I just think, even just in the medical space, there's so much capacity for production. Hemp, there's obviously, we're an agricultural powerhouse. There's production capacity for jobs there. It's all around. I think all of those points will lead to jobs, which is very exciting for us. And Dean, on your side, any thoughts or questions?
Myrtle, also, I was just wondering what you'd like to see sort of related around the Private Act, and if you have any sort of hope for the police starting to leave home growers alone, or do you think until we get more sort of regulation, it's just going to carry on? Because 2021, we saw a lot of arrests related to people home growing, and also a lack of sort of education filtering down the line.
Sadly, I don't think it's going to get any better. I really don't think it's going to get any better. We're waiting to see what the implications for us is of the Parliament fire.
Yes.
So we're not sure what the Justice Portfolio Committee. We're not sure how that's going to affect their work. And we have the Hayes Club case is supposed to be coming up in February. Yes. So we hope that we might get a judgment in that still in the first 6 months of this year. But as we're almost certain that it's going to be referred to the Constitutional Court, because it's a criticism, for want of a better word, of the actual Constitutional Court judgment. So we're expecting it. And remember, last time it took us 2 years to actually get that appeal heard in the Constitutional Court. So I think that as far as the cops are concerned, we certainly don't look forward to any reduction in the arrests. So we have to keep our Stop the Cops campaign going, and we have to keep shouting about it. And then as far as the private club space, if we want to call it that, the private club space, I think it's only going to go from strength to strength this year, and we're hearing about new little clubs popping up all over the place. But one of the most interesting things that came from the international projections for the year was this fact that bigger is not better. And we saw it coming out of practically every single country that commented on these articles. They said bigger is not better. And I think that that's why I've got great confidence in the cannabis club. Small, privately owned, not franchised, not part of big groups of clubs. Small, privately owned clubs are going to quietly beaver away in the background and look after their members and create a lovely gees about cannabis in South Africa. And I think that is always where the heart has been. And I think it will continue to be where the heart is. But our fight in the courts is not nearly over. So we look forward to some sort of progress with the Hayes Club case. But as I said, Parliament fire, it might be the best excuse. Because the last
excuse for delays.
The last excuse was that the Parliament website, the Justice Department website, had been hacked. So Parliament fire, perfect excuse for them to postpone it again. But for the case of our dear friends at the Hayes Club, we hope that in February we can actually go down to Cape Town again and support them in some sort of progress.
Agreed.
Well, fingers crossed for that. Thank you so much, Myrtle, and for coming on. And of course, thank you so much for what you're doing at Fields of Green for All, and of course your team that supports you. I know the guys are working really hard. We've seen it when we were there. 8 a.m. they're already writing articles and working, and the grind does go on there, even though it's, everyone's in the cannabis industry, but it doesn't mean we're not all working hard towards our causes. So thank you so much for taking some time to come join us.
No, that's a pleasure, guys, and thank you at Marijuana SA for your long-standing support and all of our affiliates. We wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. It's amazing. We somehow scraped through. We somehow managed to pay the bills. We somehow managed to do the activism that we need to do. So we're looking forward to another year of amazing support, because I can really say that everybody is really, really working hard to make this work for all of us.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Myrtle. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Myrtle.
See you soon.
Myrtle's always so epic to have on the show, and I really enjoyed her sort of looking abroad out of South Africa as well. It's important what's happening globally, and I liked sort of the conversation also related to starting to sort of band together as the global, as the developing economies in the space, because the first world economies definitely seem to be kind of leading, and if one looking as a third world country to a country like Canada, it doesn't really apply, I don't think, personally, because the systems and the sort of maybe even just the infrastructure that you're going to run is going to be completely different.
I must say, I'm a little bit embarrassed at the fact that the way Myrtle and like the Fields of Greens for All think about cannabis legalization is on such a high level, and it's so beyond the work that we see a lot of it, but it's so high level actually when you break it down, and it's unreal.
And that's why the work that they're doing is so important. We have people who are looking very closely at how sort of the global market applies to South Africa, what's happening in all the different sort of cultures and industries within South Africa. And it's such a broad subject. It's actually hard to, you're strong in your niche in the industry. And I mean, we even are exposed to a large sort of or multiple sectors of the industry. And I still, even in this conversation now, there was lots of stuff that was news to me. It's hard to keep up. So I have an amazing respect with the sort of massive amount of broad knowledge that Myrtle and her team does bring.
It's unreal. Yeah, it really is unreal. I mean, I'm busy reading the manifest as well, and I picked up a couple of things from the manifest, and it's also, I mean, it's a tricky read. It's high level stuff, and it's, I mean, the detail on things that you didn't even think play a part in this whole spectrum of things. It's almost like politics in a way, and it's like there's so many little things that play into it. It's brilliant.
The politics of the plant.
Almost. And I also hope that the guys at the club, the hearing in February,
the Hayes Club,
yeah, if they can, I'm also fingers crossed for that, because that'll be I think
that will have massive implications for our industry, and I know it's taking a long time, but it's going to, with Myrtle also thinking it will go to the Constitutional Court. That's good news in my sense. I mean, we hope to see it fast, but the Constitutional Court has the power, so I have big fingers crossed, and we wish them all the best for the result that we as an industry want to see.
100%. Guys at home, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen in 2022 with regards to cannabis in your country, in our country, in wherever you're from, in your town, in your club. We obviously love to see what you guys are doing and hear about it and chat amongst it with our team. And I think it all helps down the line. And like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notifications, and we'll check you next week.